Well, we are pleased to have two members of the state champion Alva High School speech and debate team. They were at state last week and they came away with the state championship. So introduce Nick Brott, who teaches speech and debate at the high school, and I'll let him introduce the students.
Okay, first off, I'd like to say thanks for having us here today. We always appreciate getting to come and perform for you because a lot of people don't know what we do down in the speech room. This was a very successful year for us. If you have not heard, we did come home with the state championship. It's the first time that's happened since 2001, so we were very excited about it. And we also, this year, won the state one-act championship. And this is the first time we've done both since 1997. So it's a very good year for us. And we also won the State Tech Award, which is also another state championship for one act, which deals with all the lights, costume, sound. It's a state championship in its own right. And that's the first time, I believe, that anybody's done that in Oklahoma to win all three. So it was a very successful year. A very good year. I'm not happy about losing the seniors I'm losing, but we have some incredible students, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce one now, Makena Sherrill. She's a state champion in original oratory this year, and if you don't know what that is, it's a persuasive speech that she wrote herself. And yeah, she's my first state champion in it since 2005, so here's Makena Sherrill.
A bee puts to shame many an architect in the construction of her cells. But what distinguishes the worst of architect from the best of bees is this, that the architect raises his structure in imagination before he erects it in reality. Karl Marx, Capital. Bees and ants alike are born and designed for one or two jobs in their entire lifetime. They have no ambition, no goals, no self-worth. Their only purpose is to keep the species alive. Each individual in the colony works together, much like we do as humans. But as Karl Marx stated, we humans are capable of imagination. We are creative, and each of ourselves has a unique thought process. So how is it possible to standardize education for a nation of over 300 million people? The answer is, it's not possible. Countries all over the world are seeking for a reform for two reasons. They are looking to educate their children to take their place in the economies of the 21st century, even though we can't predict what the economy will look like at the end of the month. Second reason being, they are trying to make their children pass on their cultural influences, but all the while keep on track of globalization. So far, our nation's attempts at achieving these 2 points is leading our future by what we've done in the past. Students were told if you did good in school, went to college, obtained a degree, you would have a successful career. While it's better to get a degree than not, it's no longer a promise to a job. Especially if that road to your degree limits what you deem as most important about yourself. Some say the solution to our problem is raising the standards. I can't argue with that. There's no study that states raising standards causes harm. In fact, the U.S. is implementing Common Core standards, a system designed from Washington, D.C. that will keep schools all on the same track and raise the bar on what is expected of students to learn. This is not a new concept. In fact, China and many other nations have almost this exact approach to education. And get this, China wants to change to become more like the United States. Experts at Shanghai Jiaotong University state they, meaning students, have huge vocabularies, and they do math well. However, the level of their creativity and imagination is low. According to the Los Angeles Times, Chinese leaders believe they're only producing generations of unimaginative worker bees who can do well on tests. When they look to America, they see children who are well-rounded individuals that grow to be leaders in society. On the other hand, when Americans look to China, they see hordes of super geniuses who can produce amazing test scores. But we have to realize that academic performances are sometimes the only values some countries accept. The problem is, our free public school system was made during the culture age of enlightenment. The Enlightenment take on intelligence was a person's academic ability, the ability to use deductive reasoning and have knowledge of the classics, such as literature and philosophical pieces. This mentality on what intelligence is creates the split path of two types of people today, the academic and the non-academic. Smart people and not smart people. In fact, many brilliant people believe they are not smart because of what society perceives as intelligence. Reforming the existing education system with this mentality is basically trying to improve something that is broken rather than fixing it. We have to accept different intelligences, and not just those shown by standardized testing, because diversity in a society will cause progress. I read a story once of a boy with dyslexia who had a terrible time at public school. The minute he started homeschooling, it was obvious he was brilliant at architecture. He would play real-life computer simulation games just so he could build the houses. He learned how to hack into these games just so he could make more complex structures and place anything anywhere he wanted. Yet at public school, he was seen as below average. It's a difficult thing to standardize education for a nation of over 300 million people, but it's true that some kids don't learn just by sitting and listening and regurgitating information. Somebody who hates math but loves science can't express their theories in mathematical terms, but they can't express them in concepts and why things must fit together the way they do. They rely on those with mathematical talent to prove or disprove their ideas. In the book Breakpoint and Beyond, the authors measured divergent thinking among 1,500 people by asking, how many uses can you think of for a paperclip? They conducted a longitudinal study, meaning they came back to the same subjects over a period of several years, asking them the same question about the paperclip. At age 5, 98% scored at the genius level. By age 10, that number jumped to 50. By adulthood, it fell even further. Because, as we grow older, we are taught how to think within reason and boundaries. Who's to say this paperclip wasn't 15 feet tall and made of rubber? So I'm sure you can agree with me when I say that things we think are most obvious are considered common sense. However, the problem with that is we get stuck in a rut where there's only one answer for every question and one way of doing things, because it's common sense. Instead of teaching students that there's only one answer for every problem, I believe we should let them explore the possibilities. Kids don't fear to be wrong until society teaches them. When I was in the 4th grade, my school held a science fair. One of the key points I remember my teacher telling me was that if your results didn't match up with what your hypothesis stated, it's okay. We learned by trial and error through our experiment. Rather than punishing us for getting a wrong answer, we were encouraged to try again. How do you think the inventions produced in the Second Industrial Revolution came to be? When Thomas Edison was asked about his failed attempts at creating the light bulb, he stated, "I didn't fail. I found out 2,000 ways how not to make a light bulb." So by now, you're probably sitting there thinking, okay, we get there's problems with our education system. What's your solution? My solution is the belief that we must recognize human growth is not mechanical, but like a flower. And we can't predict the outcome, but like gardeners, we can create the circumstances under which our flowers will begin to grow. There are 2 points in which I believe we can create these circumstances. 1, to keep creative and unique leaders in our society, we have to stop adopting the Enlightenment's view on intelligence and become open-minded to all students. You don't have to make straight A's and make honor roll to have a successful career, because we all think differently, and we're all good at something special. Perhaps that something special is drawing cartoons, as Walt Disney started out doing. Walt graduated high school, started working with newspapers, and later founded one of the best-known motion picture companies in the world. 2, we have to let go of the belief that everyone must go to college to have a successful life. Did you know some teachers mock those high school students who want to be a fireman or a policeman and have since they were in kindergarten? you can't tell me they aren't trying to educate our children to take their place in the economy, the professional world, where you have to have a degree to survive. Can we blame them? Aren't we all just trying to compete with other countries, though? But this isn't us against them. It's you against me. I suppose I can't give you a direct solution with this speech, but I can only walk away in the hopes that it made you think and that you've allowed your perspective to change. So that way, maybe one day everyone will see that in order to prevent us from becoming a bunch of worker bees and ants, we have to change our education paradigms to become a prosperous nation. Thank you.